Welcome to this video in which I would like to show how easy it is to monitor spectrum with the Aronia V6 and the RTSA software. This looks kind of busy here right now on the RTSA side, so let's just start with a new mission. Here we go. Now we have no items here from the repository here where you find all the blocks to construct a mission. So let's start with a factory mission. And here's a Wi-Fi monitoring mission. If you rest your cursor here, you should at some point also see a pop-up window, shows you what's inside that mission, but we just open it. And now we will be ready to hit the start button. Let's do that. So what are we monitoring right now? Start frequency 2.4, stop 6 gigahertz. And then we have different sections here on the screen. So let's just open the one that's rather busy. Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz, as expected, quite busy. So there's somebody here quite busy on channel 11 here. Then there's another Wi-Fi channel here that seems to be busy. And now it's pretty quiet on this side of the house here. So you can very easily slide down here and take a closer look, get a better view of it. Over here we see not much going on in 802.11a land, and a little bit busier down here at the higher frequency channels in the 5 gigahertz band. So you see here a guy transmitting here at 5.5 gigahertz, and here's a longsome guy here nobody wants to talk to in this frequency range. So that router is just sending out the beacons but doesn't seem to have a conversation. And here in the highest frequency range, not quite, we stop at 6 gigahertz, but we can fix this. So we just say stop here, and I clear, and I say 2.5 gigahertz, and I start again. Now we're monitoring all the way up to the highest Wi-Fi channel, and you can see there's one guy here sitting at this frequency, looks like channel 215 or something like that. Not a whole lot of traffic going on, maybe not too many people operating in this frequency range. Anyway, so now you saw that it's super easy to start a mission here. How does this mission look like? So let me just stop. So we modified the stop frequency. So we have the V6 spectrum analyzer supplying the IQ data to this zoom block, which allows us to very easily change the start and stop frequency. And here we have the choice now. What do you do with the IQ information or with the spectrum information? We can put it in a file. Please be aware that you need a large hard drive for this. You can stream 24 hours, 7 days if you like. The stream is rather large, so that requires a large hard drive, and USB 3.2 would be preferable. Another side note about the PC that you should use to operate this software would be a quad core, preferably 8 with at least 64 gig of RAM. 32 will be probably still be acceptable. So now we have this block here. We divide this one stream into 4 separate streams that you saw previously, 2.4 and 5 gigahertz and all the way up to 725 gigahertz. So that's the mission itself. That came standard except for the stop frequency. And again, if I go back here and hit start, we will see the sweeping and the capturing of the spectrum. Very straightforward, I hope. Now, let's say you want to add different frequency ranges and tasks to this. So let's go here either with new mission, or I open a recent mission, which in this case is this one here. So I don't want to save this one in particular here. So this looks very busy. And let me just start here with the introduction what I've changed. So it's very straightforward or easy to add more elements. So this looks familiar, hopefully, for wireless LAN streams. nothing has changed here, but I added CBRS, IoT 430 and IoT 915 megahertz to the spectrum blocks. The file writer again would take the whole IQ stream here, and here's a quick example about a separate IQ stream here that I just streamed to this hard drive. Separate hard drive, same hard drive, cannot be the same file name, but hopefully you get the idea that you can separately stream here files to a hard drive for documentation or later review. Please keep in mind this is just the tip of the iceberg because you know, there are so many ways here to capture data, and hopefully this will get you an idea of how straightforward it is. And another element that I added here is the calibration element. Aronia has very nice antennas that come with calibration data, so you can very nicely define here the interface and make it most accurate. Additional preamplifier or attenuators are also able to be added to the measurement setup. And did I mention that the antennas come omnidirectional or log or directional, so any flavor you can think of. So let's go back to the measurements here. I hit the start button and you can see I already have 725 megahertz. In the ISM band 2.4, which is indicated here, I have added a little bit more information. So let me just slide this window down here so we get a better view. Should probably also mention that you want to have preferably a 4K monitor with a large display size. So I added LTE to this information here. So let me just open up my LTE headsets here, and you can immediately see that this guy is reaching out and creating some traffic here, indicated over here. This looks kind of slow, and the reason is that with the interlocking wheels we can turn off the time compression. So now we have a seamless capture here, and over here you can get an idea about the speed or the POI. So on the legend here, so I can very easily add here some more information, and the POI in this case is 7.5 milliseconds. Now the POI doesn't change when I change the time scale here, so you still get all the information in the block. So if you would, for example, record here or record over here, you would not slow down the information that you capture. But for the display, ease of reading and stuff like that, so you can slow down the capture. And again, here you have the Bluetooth channels, for example, and just a few of the important channels. Of course, you can customize this down here. Again, nothing going on, kind of boring over here. There's a little bit more going on here in this particular band here, the 5 gigahertz band. What I like to show here is that I use the max hold. I don't use this one over here on traces. I can very easily click it on. If you right click, then you can see that you have a vast amount of traces that you can add to a measurement screen. But in this case, I'm just using clear write. I can actually even turn this off, max hold, and I copied the max hold to a reference line. So the blue line is the max hold line that I put in reference, and now I can clearly observe that there are some signals that showed up later that go beyond the original max line that I captured. So you get very easily an idea about signals that may come once in a while and exceeding maybe your requirement. Over here, again, this guy is kind of like boring. It's sitting over here in the 7 gigahertz band. Nevertheless, we capture that guy, and here are the new guys that we added to the sweep functionality. You can see here CBRS. In my area it is very quiet, so there's nothing going on. The same is true for the ISM 433. To expect it, but you never know if somebody is operating here. And here we have a little bit more activity in the 915 ISM band. To be expected, probably some smart meters, some IoT devices doing some stuff. If I stop here, you can zoom into this very easily. You just grab this information, and then with the time scale you can very easily zoom in here and identify this one. Doesn't look like LoRa. It's some burst, maybe proprietary from some of the vendors of the smart meters, but very easily start stop. You can capture here things, and if you want to see what's happening over time, the max hold line, you just click on it, and if I want this one to be my reference line, again you right click, add to reference, and now I have a copy of that trace here. So it's very easy to customize this one, and this video is probably not doing justice to all the functionality that you can add and engage here to capture and sweep the spectrum, but I hope this was a good first introduction to the capabilities of the V6 spectrum analyzer, capturing spectrum and displaying it with these software blocks. Thank you very much for watching.